Hello, my name is Brett Reeve, and this is my final presentation for PSY 331. And today I'll be talking about the role of parents. I'll be looking at the Christian standpoint and also the psychological standpoint. And lastly, I'll be looking at integrating both of them and why it's beneficial to integrate theology and psychology when it comes to raising our children and being parents overall. Now, in the Bible, we find that God asks us or commands us to train our children in the Word of God. We are expected to instill in our children the morals and ethics and values that are in the Bible and to tell the stories that are within the Bible to bring them closer to God, to give them the foundation that they need to not only be happy as children, but also to be successful adults. Um, as Christians, we are to help everybody that we come across. And it starts within our homes and having a God centered home and raising our children up within that home so that they too, when they move on, have the same kind of home that they grew up in. Now, as we see here, the living and breathing Word of God begins to impact our children from the moment we begin reading it to them. So it's important that from day one, we instill in our children the truth of God and the Bible. We need to talk to them, pray with them, pray over them, and give them all the information that they need to be successful. And living a Christian life sets you up for being successful, not only at home, not only with other people out there in society, but within the workplace also. From a biblical perspective, we can look throughout the Bible to find out how we should be parents, how we should raise our children. And just looking at a few of these here from Proverbs, Ephesians, Deuteronomy, we see that we should start our children off from the very beginning. And if we continue to train our children throughout the time that we have them, the morals and ethics that we teach them, the words of the Bible, the truth, will end up staying with them and they will grow in it as adults. We're also told to discipline our children. We're not supposed to just give them what they want or let them run all over the place, but to give them a strong foundation and understanding of moral and ethical right and wrong, along with what is just right and wrong in society. It also states here that we should, or our children should, follow the teachings of their father, follow the teachings of their mother. That is part of the Christian centered home. God comes first, then comes the parents, then comes the children. And that foundation right there helps the children to understand not only their parents, but also respect your elders outside of the home. And the elders are not just family members, but also elders within society or even your bosses as you get older. It is about teaching respect, teaching that um, the older generation has much to teach. And as the younger generation, they should be learning just like we should be learning from our older elders also. Now, the key to this is not only creating the God centered home and teaching our children the Word of God, but as parents, we also must be living the righteous life. We must be living the words of God. We must be setting the example for our children. Nowhere in the Bible does it say, do as I say, not as I do. We are expected to be the living example of the Word of God. That is being a Christian. We are supposed to walk like Christ or to live in a Christ-like life. By doing so, our children are not only just hearing the words, but they're also getting the example from sight, from sound. They are living within that biblical perspective. As we do this, as we create this God-centered home, we teach the words, we show the life, we create a set of family values that first, God is most important in all aspects of our life. We put others before us. As Christians, as I said earlier, we are supposed to help those around us in any manner that we can. We're supposed to be paying it forward. We need to teach this to our children. Be grateful for all that God gives you. God gives and God takes away. But God always gives you what you need, and He only takes away what you don't. Trust in God. He is our friend. He is our maker. He is our creator. This needs to be instilled in our children that no matter what is going on in life, God will be there for us. Let them understand that we all sin. Jesus died on the cross for us to take away those sins. And through free will, we are going to make mistakes. We are far from perfect. We will never be perfect. But as long as we have trust, hope, and faith in God, we have salvation. We have redemption. We have a chance for tomorrow. Respect authority. God first, parents, elders, those around us. Show respect to all. And most of all, sit down and show that our purpose is to glorify God through prayer, through talking with others, through the actions that we do. If we can instill these in our children will not only have a happy life, but they will be successful adults later on. Now, as we start looking at the psychological aspect of this, parenting practices around the world expect us to keep our children safe and healthy, most of all. In doing so, though, the long-term goal is to make them successful adults. Teach them cultural values, the way of society. Our children need to have a good relationship with us so that they are learning from us. Now, they talk about these top 10 parenting strategies: love and affection, autonomy, independence, life skills, health, safety, education, and learning. As parents, our goal is to give our children these things. We need to love them, we need to protect them, and we need to prepare them for life outside of our home. To do this, scientists such as Maslow, Skinner, and Dewey, to name a few, have come up with different forms of psychology, whether it be behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, or even humanism, that show the way that the mind works and how people are reached in a learning capacity, how they help them to remember what they have learned or what they have learned from their stimuluses. Basically, a person is presented with a stimulus, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's word or action, whether it's a picture or a color. The brain diagnoses it, stores it, and keeps it in its storage for recall later. Now, those memories, those images that they have can be positive, they can be negative, depending on how they're presented and how the person receives them. Integrating the Christian viewpoint or theology with psychology is extremely important because with psychology, they have taught us how to reach people better. They've taught us what our children need for the future and for now. So as parents, us having a better understanding of how the world or how their mind works and how they see the world is very important. Now, as Entwistle points out, it is assumed that truth can be found through theological and psychological investigation. One side's not always right and the other side's not always right, but bringing them together helps our children and helps us as parents to reach them better. And as Crabb states, in order to integrate the insights of psychology with the revealed truth of the Bible, we need to clearly understand and state our position on ultimate authority. God comes first. God has given us the gift of science. He has given gifts to individuals who are better at analyzing the mind, better at understanding the mind, and breaking down what these children need, what our children need. Once we understand that, we can then integrate the theology and give them the healthy, safe foundation that they need to be good, upstanding adults once they leave us. And that foundation, of course, is found in the Bible through the morals, ethics, and values taught not only by Jesus, but by the disciples. The Word of God tells us the truth, tells us how we get to tomorrow, gives us faith, and gives us hope. We need to understand that His love makes not only the Bible possible and what's in it, but also science to better understand it and help our children to grow stronger within the Word. And that sums up my final presentation. I believe that psychology and theology can be integrated together, and I believe that is beneficial for all if it is. Thank you.